All right, well, out here with the truck, right? So the biggest thing so far, we just got it out of the woods, towed it home, we gave it a good washing. I pulled the seat out of it to where the truck can be airing out so I can actually get in there because it stinks, it's terrible. I've got to do something with that seat. But back to the truck. So after we washed it off, I wanted to start looking at how I could get this thing to crank if possible to see if everything works. The unfortunate thing is the rat's nest that was in here in the truck. We do have some damaged wires. We've got some chewed through wires here, there, and everywhere. I went ahead and got a battery. It's just a matter of what wires are here and what wires are missing. So let me go ahead and hook this up and show you what I've got. Okay, battery in, battery hooked up. No sparks, no fires yet. So if we go inside the truck, the last time I was here, if you can see that, we actually have a blinker. I do know it has brake lights. I'm sorry, it's got riding lights, so the lights will come on if I turn the lights on. The brake lights are not working when I hit the brake pedal. The headlights do not work at all. I know we are missing a blinker up there, but as you can see, the left blinker is on, the right blinker is not. But the unfortunate thing here is our blinker switch is broken, so I can't really do anything about that right now. And to be honest, I can't really test turning the truck over to see if it'll even turn over because we do not have an ignition cylinder in here. We do have the little gear inside of there still, but it looks like at some point somebody pulled out or yanked out the ignition lock cylinder. So I'm actually going to try and take this apart. I've got one ordered. And when it gets here, I'd like to put it in. Until then, I might try to just hot wire or jump start the truck with some wires to see if it turns over. Actually, I might actually try that. I might try to do that today. Let's see. I know there's still going to be some junk in the engine bay that's probably going to fly around, but I really do want to see if this truck will turn over. I checked the oil. It's still got oil in it, and I'm not going to change it yet just because I want that oil to circulate first to get a lot of the junk and anything that's actually inside the engine. So I'm going to leave that how it is, and I'm going to see if I can find a way to jump this truck. I lied. I'm not jumping the truck. I went and got an ignition lock cylinder because they had them at the auto parts store. So I went and got those. I got two different ones because I didn't know which one this one took. So I just got them both, and I'll return the one I don't use. But I'm going to pull the steering wheel off and try to install the lock cylinder in here. All right, so got the ignition lock cylinder put in. The right one in there. We got her going. Key in. Okay. Here in park. Yep, something's happening. I'm going to put all this back together because I know that works now, so I can go ahead and get this put back together. All right, so when I bump the key, whenever I bump the key, I could have swore I heard the engine turn over, and I knew I was missing, well, I say missing, a mouse had eaten one of the plug wires, so I went and borrowed one from the Camaro outside. Guess which one I borrowed? Fun game. But I think we've got all the spark plugs. I think the firing order is correct. So I'm actually gonna probably squirt a little gasoline, maybe some starting fluid down in there, and just see if I can get the engine turning over. So we'll see what happens. All right, so using the starter, heard a bit of a funky noise. So you can see the starter in here. Looks like the end of our starter broke off. If we can zoom up in there, maybe you can see it. I think we're missing some teeth on the starter. From what I can tell, the flywheel looks okay, but it's looking like we're gonna need a starter. So I think I'm gonna try to track down a starter. Well, got the starter off. The nose of it's broken off, obviously, and a bunch of teeth missing, so I'm gonna go see if I can find a replacement for that. All right, and just like that, the new starter's on. What do you think?
Yeah.
I didn't use any shims. I don't know what's gonna happen.
V8 stuff.
Oh, but okay, so back to before when I shattered the starter. It sounded a little rough turning over, like it was having trouble. Reading online, a lot of that comes from ignition timing being off, but this thing's not even trying to fire up right now. It's barely turning over. I think it's more from just an old brittle starter plus kind of a drag on the motor right now. There's probably some rust, some buildup, keeping it from rotating, along with the accessories up here. You know, there's plenty of junk under the belts right now. I think it's got a lot of resistance.
Yeah.
And with that starter being super old.
So we talked about it. We can take all the spark plugs out.
Yep.
That'll help free up some of the compression.
Yep.
Take the belts off so it has less drag.
Yep.
And then go from there. That'll be the less amount of stress that it can have.
Yep. If we take the belts off, take the plugs out, we've got no compression, we've got no other accessories trying to be powered by the starter. It'll just be turning over the internals of the engine.
You know, we also talked, it's sat for years.
Yeah.
So there might have been some moisture that has built up that maybe have some surface rust on the internal stuff.
Yeah. Might just be sticking.
Yeah, so that'll also help get some oil pumping around, sloshing around, so maybe it'll help lube everything up.
Yep, so we're gonna pull the plugs out of this thing and we're gonna take the belts off, and then we're gonna try to turn it over just to give it, you know, as much of a chance as it has without taking as much force on the starter. So we'll get that done and we'll try to start it up. Dang, you must be squished. You ain't talking a whole lot.
Big boy out of breath.
All right, got the plugs out. Got the power steering belt off, air conditioner belt on. We did leave the water pump alternator belt on. So let's see. Go ahead, Cody. What is that? Oh. Well, our ignition broke. I put in a new lock cylinder yesterday. All that plastic in there is very fragile and broken. Like the blinker switch is already broken in there, and I figured it was gonna need replaced anyways, but it looks like a couple turns on the ignition switch and it just broke apart in there. So we're gonna crank it a different way. All right, let's see. Let's see if you can turn it over, Cody. Yep. Yep, it's turning over. Do it again, just a little bit longer. Okay. All right, what do you think? You broke my ignition, but that's okay. We're gonna do it a different way. We went ahead and put the plugs in, plug wires back on. We threw this old Edelbrock intake cover on here. I bought that in high school a long time ago, but it's kind of got a patina rust look to it, so it matches the rest of the truck.
Yeah.
I guess we're gonna test the starter, make sure it pushes all that compression. I don't really know, man, but turn it over, let's see what happens.
Ready?
Sure.
We ain't got no power.
Oh, hold on. All right, you got power.
You got a fire extinguisher?
Yeah.
Ready?
Yep. It's turning over. Yep.
No way. Pretty good. That's a lot of shit. Fire.
I said, oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire.
That might have been too much gas, Cody.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
So after 2 fires
And a fire extinguisher.
and a fire extinguisher, we are not getting fuel up to the carburetor yet. We've tried a couple times to get some pulled up there. There is gas in the tank. We just went ahead and made our own little gas tank. So Cody's gonna hold that. It's feeding the bottom of the fuel pump there. So
Ain't no gas like Mountain Dew. It's not pumping. No, nothing's moving in the bottle.
well, here's where I'm at. After a couple fires, we did get it to start up, but we had to supply the fuel. We actually weren't getting gas from the carburetor itself. So I started looking through everything to see if I could figure out where we're not getting it from. So obviously we set up our own little gas tank down here, feeding the fuel pump. From the fuel pump, it led up to our carburetor. And when I took this line loose, we actually had fuel coming out of this line. It was pressurized and everything, so the carburetor was getting fuel from our setup. So we know the pump is good. Everything in this line right here is good. I'll have to check back to the tank before we do anything else. But I wasn't getting gas from the carburetor. It was not putting gas down in the engine. So I went ahead and pulled it off, and this. I'd like to preface, I have no idea what I'm doing. No clue, not even a little bit. This is my first tearing apart a carburetor. I'm watching some videos on, you know, the Learning Academy of YouTube. I'm lost. I have no clue what any of this stuff is, but maybe I can learn, which is what I'm trying to do by just tearing it apart and putting it back together. So maybe I'll learn something. Maybe I mess it up and I just get a different carburetor. Either way, we're gonna figure out what's going on with this carburetor, and hopefully I can get this situation settled with whatever I end up doing. I don't even know what I'm doing right now, but I've got it all torn apart. My plan is to clean it and try to rebuild this carburetor and see if I can get it working. So here's to that. I did it. I did it. I did it. I think I ran out of gas.
I think I might have ran out of gas. I did it.
I think I'm gonna end here. Obviously I need to let all the gas run out of the gas tank. I'm probably gonna end up dropping the gas tank and fixing that leak. I can see the hole that's in the gas tank. But I'm gonna let all that leak out of there. Fix that. That way I can hook up the gas tank line here and make sure there's no leaks in that line. I do have some more fuel line that I bought today, so I can go over that line, make sure it's good. That'll get this all good, and I think I might have a starter shim issue going on, but fix that too, make sure the ignition timing's right, and then adjust the carburetor to where it's working flawlessly. And then I can start working on this truck and get it ready for the road. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.